Good morning. Welcome to the conversation on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. By now, you already know I'm bringing you the show from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, and my name is Ade Suwal. The conversation, as always, today is going to enlighten you, as you know, well as engage you, because I, of course, have a guest in the studio to help me dissect the issue we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're looking at the issue of youth unemployment in Nigeria's struggling economy, tackling all of that. Productivity and prosperity, is usually linked to human capital. And Africa actually is looking to be the young workforce of the world, a few years from now. And then the issue of, unemployment is has been brought to the front burner every now and then, and that's what we're going to be looking at. To join me in having that conversation in the studio this morning is Hamilton Lamek, the country director of Tribe Africa. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Adeswa.
It's such a pleasure to have
you.
Let's get straight into it. The unemployment rate, that's together unemployment and underemployment rate in Nigeria as of 2021 last year was screaming well over 55%. 55% of 200 million people is a huge, huge number, right? What is the first way to start this constructing unemployment problems in Nigeria, from your perspective?
All right, thank you for that question.
Yeah.
When you look at the data from last year, the unemployment rate is alarming.
Yes.
But then unemployment is not just peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global issue. Every country in the world is faced with unemployment. But the question is how you are dealing with it as a country. All right, so as a country in Nigeria, we have a lot of roadblocks when we are talking about fighting unemployment. Some of them is infrastructures. Some of them is government policies and all of that. Also education.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of infrastructure gap when it comes to addressing the issue of unemployment. Just like you said, we are over 200 million people. Now take the statistics. So in approximation, if we have, according to NBC, was it last year? The unemployment rate generally is at 33.5%. Now imagine taking that percentage out of 200 million people. You have over 70 million that are unemployed. Now, we have not talked about underemployment.
Yeah.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
So in addressing this issue, we must follow a holistic approach for us to solve and to close the gap of unemployment in Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, when you have idle population, it gives rise to, insecurity and all sorts of things.
Yes. I'm going to bring you back to, you mentioned the gap between the population and economic growth. One reason people have, giving for the alarming rate of unemployment that we have in Nigeria is, aside from, government policies, no job, people have largely said it's just a matter of laziness. We have lots of lazy young persons who don't want to work, even when you give them jobs to do. Are you also of that opinion?
I want to look at it objectively. Now, for us to solve that problem, yes, we'll have that issue. Okay. But at the same time, you cannot deny the lack of government infrastructures in solving that problem. Yes, we have had the issue of youth employability, having the needed skills that is needed in the market.
Yes.
A lot of young people don't have it.
I was actually going to bring you back to that.
But at the same time, you also have gaps in terms of infrastructures within the government that is not helping the situation. So if we want to address unemployment in Nigeria, we must be holistic. We mustn't just shift the blame, the youths are not employable and all of that. The government also needs to do the needful. That is why we have a lot of government interventions trying to solve this problem. But the challenge is that some of those interventions are not, this government will start their own intervention. When they leave, another government will begin their own intervention.
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, we are having another lapses between this government and the next government.
Yes, I do know it's actually beautiful that you mentioned government policies, because that was actually going to bring me back to the next thing I was going to say. I do know that the CBN has been doing a lot, to bridge the gap between, to bridge the unemployment gap that we have in Nigeria. There's the Anchor Borrowers program, and there's the government's, ease of doing business and all of that stuff. But that does not necessarily bite the issue. Now, how do we now begin to look at, private sector partnership? And because I know the government cannot, the government effort has been laudable, but they cannot necessarily have to provide job for 70 million Nigerians. So there has to be some partnership between the government and private sector. What do you think about that?
Yeah, if you look at development of nations, government alone cannot solve unemployment issues. The primary objective of government is to provide the enabling environment that will allow the private sector to thrive. So if government should provide the enabling environment, then the private sector can absorb most of these unemployed youths. And one of the ways to solve this problem is entrepreneurship.
Okay.
For example, you have someone that is employed, that is self-employed. He or she can employ somebody else. So it's about having this enabling environment that allows young people to do business in Nigeria. By so doing, they employ themselves and at the same time employ others.
Okay. Okay. I do know that your organization is also, doing something in line with having to bridge the gap between unemployment and, just tell me about that quickly.
All right. So we have a major conference coming up in June, on the 18th of June. Now, the primary focus is closing the gaps of youth unemployment. Now, the major reason for this intervention program is the fact that we have seen the rate of unemployment. So instead of just sitting back and be complaining, then we must be able to do something. Now, in solving that problem, you can either use 2 approaches or even 3 approaches.
Okay.
The first one is, providing job opportunities, internship. Now, internship allows people to gain experience. You just finished university. You don't have experience. You want to go into probably the banking space. You don't have the industry skills. Now, when you do internship, it allows you to gain the experience you need. It boosts your CV.
Okay.
So we are going to provide an opportunity for people to have internship in major organizations. Number 2, we're also having a job fair that allow people to come and have on-the-spot job opportunity. So we are working with a lot of organizations so that at the end of the day, we collect job opportunities so that when qualified candidates come on that day, they are going to see on-the-spot job opportunity.
Okay.
Number 3, we also have something that has to do with, providing funding opportunities for small and medium enterprises. Now, one of the major challenges SMEs face is in the area of funding. Some of them even do not know what are the funding opportunities that are out there. So we are going to bridge that gap again by linking them to funding opportunities during the course of the conference.
Okay.
So we are looking at 3 major objectives during the conference.
Okay, that's actually very laudable. It just brings, when you mentioned the internship, something came to my mind, and I just thought, do you think, this is just off the books, do you think that one of the major reasons why we keep having the spate of unemployment that we have in the country is because of, the age criteria and the experience criteria that we have, employers look at? I mean, you just came out of the university and they're asking you that you have to have 5 years working experience, or you have to be, 18 years or 25 years, and the whole ASA strike and everything. When you come out of school, you're probably, over the age limit, and then you don't also have that experience. Do you think that's also one of the reasons why we have that?
Yes, it is a problem. For example, apologies to the political class.
Okay.
Now, for someone to become a senator, look at the qualification needed.
Yeah.
But for someone to take up a position, look at the qualification needed. So you see that gap again.
Yeah.
So for us to solve that problem, we must look at the root cause. And at the same time, we're in the 21st century where we have more emphasis on skill, what you can do, as against having piles of degrees. So it's what you can do, the on-the-spot skills that is needed to do the job. So it's beyond having just having degrees. In addition to the degrees, you must have experience. For example, when you come to the banking space, you need experience to work there.
Yeah.
So one of the first things you need to do is to do internship to get experience. You can do the internship for 6 months, for 1 year, and you have an entry job, entry-level job. You start from there. You begin to build your career. So for you to move your career from point A to point B, you must be very intentional. You must be very deliberate to know what are the skill sets needed. What level of experience do I need to move my career forward? Now, this is you talking to yourself. And by the time you have finished talking to yourself, you now begin to take this step. I must do this. I must do this. I must do that. At the end of the day, now when you are done with internship, if the organization does not retain you, they may probably refer you to another organization. You have gotten experience.
Yes.
And it will enable you to move from one point to another point in your career.
So internship is one
It's
being
very
great to
important.
actually, you know, curb the unemployment crisis.
Yeah,
that we
it
have in
allows you
Nigeria.
to gain the experience.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on the conversation
Thank
this
you.
morning. It's such a pleasure to have you. And, you know, congratulations, or well done on what you're actually doing, you know, to
Thank
help
you.
bridge the, you know, the unemployment gap that we have in Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for staying with me on the conversation this morning. Do not forget that I'll be back here same time, same channel tomorrow. But before then, follow TOSTV Network across all social media platforms. That's TOSTV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It's TOSTV Network. And of course, stream our website, www.tostvnetwork.com, for news, stories, and happenings from across the world. My name is Adesa Welsi. Thank you, and join me again tomorrow.